Welcome back to the channel and to another WNBA video. We got Game 2 action tipping off Sunday afternoon, October 13th, tipping off at 3 p.m. We got the Lynx and the Liberty, and we're going to dive into that game. We'll break it down and analyze it. We'll talk about which way that I'm leaning as far as the points and the spread. We'll also talk about any player props that I found for that game that I like. And then any picks that I put in officially myself, I'm going to list right down there in that pinned comment, so make sure you check back in. That way you can see if you'd like to ride along with me. But before we get into that game, we got to go over what we took in Game 1 and how that ended up going down. Man, it went down pretty damn good, man. We had a nice little 3-0 sweep. Took the full game over 159.5, and that was a hit. Took Fee's first quarter under 7.5 points. We cashed on that as well. And then we took Benaje Laney Hamilton under 10.5 points and assists, and that was another cash. So like I said, a 3-0 night, a nice little bounce back from that 1-3 night a couple days ago. So we're going to take this good energy here, this 3-0 sweep. We're going to ride that right in here to Game 2. Now let's get right into it, guys. Let's not waste any more time. Before we do, make sure you smash that like button down below for me. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. Now let's get into it, man. We got the Liberty laying 8 points and an over-under sitting at 162.5. Now, Game 1, it appeared to be following the script that many of us predicted, right? The Liberty winning and winning comfortably. Now, I leaned that way, but I was hesitant to pull the trigger on that 6.5 point line New York was laying, and for about 35 minutes, felt like I might have made the wrong decision, man. But then Minnesota decided it was time to pull off the greatest come-from-behind victory that we've seen in the WNBA Finals since the Liberty themselves rallied from 18 down way back in 1999. Look that one up after you finish this video, guys, if you're not familiar with that. That was a Game 2 back in the 1999 NBA Finals, because that ending was one of the most iconic moments in the WNBA history. But yeah, man, back to the present here. Minnesota became the first team, not only in finals history, but playoff history, to come back to win from 15 down within the final 5 minutes to play. Crazy comeback, man, and it was an exciting as hell game. I hope that all of you got to watch that one, man. It was great. New York, man, they led by 13 after 1, and they were up to 18 midway through the second quarter. They led for most of the game before giving up the lead with just 5 seconds to play in regulation. Although they held that lead for most of the game, man, they were outscored after that first quarter, 77-61. I said in that Game 1 video I was leaning New York, but scared to back them with that 6.5 point line against a team that has had their number all year, and this was exactly why. The Lynx match up well with this New York team. They are the only team in the league that plays a similar brand of basketball and has the depth to keep up with this Liberty team consistently for 40 minutes. And this has been proven as fact now. They're 4-1 head-to-head against the Liberty this season. So, obviously, the proof is in the numbers, right? So, what do we take from all this, and what do we make for Game 2 out of those numbers? Now, if we look at the box score and dive into the stats, there's 3 things that pop out to me. The Liberty controlled the glass, as they have much of the season, but they were edged slightly in terms of points scored from the paint. The Liberty have a size advantage over this Lynx team and must find a way to exploit this throughout the rest of the series, or their quest for their first ring is going to be put in severe jeopardy. They've now lost home court advantage, so we got to keep that in mind as well. The other thing stat-wise to take note of was these teams' disparities in shooting percentages. Minnesota did what they've been able to do for much of this year and what they've done in each victory that they've had over the Liberty so far this season, and that's shooting the ball at a very efficient rate, just under 41% from deep, 50% overall from the field. New York was a respectable 39% from deep, but after a first quarter that saw them go 5 of 12 from deep at 42%, they went 8 and 21 the rest of the way. But more importantly, they shot just 37% from the field for the entirety of the game. And why is that key? Well, in the last 13 years now, when the Lynx hold opponents to under 38% shooting from the field, they are an incredible 181 and 11. That's a huge winning percentage right there. So, we've seen the Lynx do this all season, right? They beat teams with that inside-out game, man. They got Fee dominating inside the arc, and she has been dominating, man. The runner-up MVP this season. Throughout these playoffs, she has been the best player in the W. I think I can confidently say that now, especially after that Game 1 performance. But, like I said, they're dominating with her inside the arc while moving the ball, honestly, with elite precision, finding open shooters on the perimeter. And when those shots are falling like they were in Game 1, man, they're extremely tough. They are extremely hard to beat. Then you combine that with their hard-nosed defense, and it's clear why this team is the team that has given New York fits all season now. With that said, with all that said, you look at the books and the media, and they have the Liberty not only bouncing back, but in a big way as well. Like I said, they are now 8-point favorites. I think this one opened up at 6.5, and it's up to 8 now. So we're holding a larger line than we saw in game one. I get that to an extent. They have been the best team all season long. They haven't lost back to back all season long. But they also have only beaten this Lynx team now once in 5 tries. They held a 15-point lead with 5 minutes to play over a team that they had a 2-day rest advantage over, a team coming off a grueling 5-game series with a tough, chippy, and physical Connecticut Sun team. So much like game one, guys, I'm leaning New York for the dub. I do think that they bounce back, man. I don't think we see them have their first back-to-back losses on the season. But with this number, man, I'm inclined to look at Minnesota's way for the cover. I could see getting behind New York in the first half, first quarter even. I think the first quarter sitting at 2 points, first half sitting at 4. I could see New York covering that. But full game against a team that just came back from 18 down on them, I'm not sure I'm ready to take that kind of risk with my money personally. So, like I said, man, as far as full game, give me the Liberty. I can't see them dropping back-to-back games at home and losing, for the first time back-to-back here in the finals when it all matters the most, right? I don't see them, like I said, dropping both of these games at home. But for the reasons just stated, I can't put my hard-earned money on them winning by 9 points over this Lynx team. So as far as the spread, I'm going to look at the Lynx with the 8 points in my pocket. So that's where I'm leaning as far as the spread is concerned. But like I said, don't sound the alarms, guys. I don't think the Lynx take a 2-0 lead heading back to Minnesota. Although I could be wrong, man. I really could, looking at this Minnesota team and how they've played this Liberty team this season. But end of the day, I'm leaning the Lynx with the points. For the total, we saw these two crush the over in game one. And even without overtime, they would have killed the over and also hit over this number specifically by 5.5 points still in game one in regulation. So we do have that working to our advantage as far as an over here. And then we've seen the Lynx hit over this mark in 4 straight, 6 of their last 8, while the Liberty have hit over this mark in 5 of their last 6. New York has also hit over this mark in 4 straight at home, while the Lynx are hitting over this mark at a 70% rate in their last 10 on the road. Now, head-to-head, these two have hit over this number in 3 of the last 4 that they've played. And with New York at home when they meet head-to-head, they're hitting over this mark at an 80% rate in their last 5 games played. So, while I do expect adjustments to be made on both sides defensively, I'm still leaning over here for game 2. I think that number's still low enough to where I'm looking at that over. As we're going to jump over here to Outlier, look at some player props. I'm looking at Courtney Williams of the Lynx, looking at her points and assists over 17.5. Now, conventional wisdom, it would tell us to fade Courtney after a huge game 1, right? But the books have adjusted the numbers to reflect that big performance in game 1. It looks like they're seeing it the same way, like let's fade Courtney here. But look, man, even if the Liberty look to take the ball out of her hands, she's a willing and elite distributor as well. So looking at this prop here with the points and the assists kind of gives us an edge with all that in mind, in my opinion. So we'll look at her here over 17.5. Now we come over here to the right, we can see that we can get this on FanDuel and Bet365 at minus 130 odds currently. Now guys, like I said, we just jumped over here to Outlier. If you are not on Outlier yet, make sure you look down in the description and in the pinned comment, man. Either or, you're going to find a link that you can click into and get a free 7-day trial here for Outlier. And guys, I'm going to tell you right now that it's definitely helped me out tremendously over the course of this WNBA season specifically, man. It's helped me become a much better. There we go again. I love saying that. It cracks me up. Much better, much efficient better. Overall, man, it's definitely helped me out a ton. So let's dive into this, guys. You'll be able to see firsthand for yourself what Outlier is all about. And then at the end of that 7-day free trial, man, if you decide you'd like to keep it, $19.99 a month to keep that on board. So great value there for all of the tools that it has to offer. Definitely the best tool as far as sports betting research that we have available on the market, in my opinion. So let's dive into it, guys, without any further ado. Looking at Courtney Williams, like I said, points and assists over 17.5. Now, if we look at her in her last 5 games, she's hitting this at an 80% rate. Green is good, red is bad, and we definitely see more green down here than we see red. That is what we like to see. Now, if we look over here at this head-to-head, now we see that she's only hitting this 44% in the last 9 games, right? But a lot of those are last season, Right here, we're looking at last season, right? This is the very first meeting between these two way back at the end of May, okay? The last 4 games that we've seen these two play, she's hit over this mark 3 out of those 4 times. So we definitely like that there, okay? If we look over here, Outlier likes to give us these insights, man, which are basically just like a trend, right? And then they filter everything down below to match that trend. So that's really nice there. If we look at this here, it says that she's exceeded this. Well, this is actually 18.5 points. We only need to catch her at 17.5. Um, So this trend is actually geared towards this 18.5 mark. You can only find that on Prize Picks and Underdog, though. Like I said, we can hit this alternate line here and get that 17.5 at minus 130. But we're going to look at this trend here that they got for us here, because this is actually, I mean, it's still, we're looking at the over, and she has exceeded 18.5 points in assists in 5 of her last 6 games on the road. She's actually averaging 21 points plus assists. So hitting that mark at a 83% rate. So like I said, if she's hitting over 18.5, we definitely like her over 17.5, right? So this is her last 6 games on the road, just kind of crushing that number, right? And the one game that we went under was that 10-point loss that the Lynx suffered to the Sun. So obviously the Sun turned it up in that one defensively and gave Minnesota some troubles. But other than that, man, 5 of the last 6 games, she has smashed that mark. Averaging a good 4 points over, well, 3.5 points. So, we're looking at that 17.5 point mark. So a good 3.5 points over where we need her to hit. Now, the thing that is concerning, if we look over here, Liberty are 3rd in terms of points allowed for guards. They are 4th in terms of assists allowed for guards. So obviously that's a concern. We know that the Liberty have a good defense, but like I said, we just looked at that head-to-head 3 of the last 4 times that they have played, including game 1 where she just had that masterpiece, right? Crushed that number. So I definitely like our chances here with Courtney Williams. Like I said, let's flip this back over to what we're looking at. Over 17.5 at minus 130. It's a little bit juiced, but profit's profit, right? That's the way that I always look at it, guys. So if I can catch anything at minus 150 or below, man, if I really like it, I'm going to roll with it still. I don't care if it's juiced. So minus 130, I'll take it, man. Courtney Williams, points and assists, over 17.5. Next up, we're looking at Kayla McBride, her assist over 3.5. Now, guys, we are at that 12-minute mark down below. Comment 12 for me down there, guys. Let me know that you're still rocking with me here throughout this video. But we are looking at Kayla McBride, her assist over 3.5. And we get this at plus money right now, plus 114 on FanDuel, right? Kind of plus money across the board, even on BetMGM and Bet365 right now. So you got to like that, man. If we look at her in her last 5, she has hit this at an 80% rate 4 times in a row. 3 games over the Connecticut Sun and then this game 1 against the Liberty. Now, she has come in right over, just right over that line on the hook, right, at 4 assists. So little concern there, but she has been hitting this, like I said, at an 80% rate in those last 5 games. 70% if we kick it back to the last 10. So still looking good there. Now, as before, looking at the Liberty, their assist allowed, they sit at 4th for guards. So there is that concern as well. But if we look at this insight from Outlier, she has hit this mark, again, at an 80% rate, 4 of her last 5 games on the road. So we do like that as well, guys. I do think it's worth a look, guys, especially at plus money, man. I don't think that we can go wrong there. Maybe we just throw half a unit on there. I'm undecided yet, but at plus money, like I said, man, I've said it a few times now. I do like that, so I think it's worth a shot. And then the last prop I'm looking at is going to be Sabrina Ionescu, looking at her rebounds and assists, fading her under 10.5, and we can get this at minus 135 on Bet365. Now, if we look at her in her last 5, she's smacking under this number at a 80% rate. So we like that, man. A lot of green down there. And if we look at the Lynx for the rebounds and assist, now as far as assist allowed, sitting at 1st, right? So, not the best look, but they are, 4th to last when it comes to rebounds allowed, sitting at 9th overall. So that's definitely playing into our favor here. And if we look at Sabrina in her last 10, we could just kind of keep pushing this one back, man. She is consistently hitting under this mark, an 80% rate in her last 10, even if we go to her last 20. Now, we see some more red creep in there, but definitely more green than red. She's hitting at a 65% rate under that mark, right? Now, if we look at her head-to-head, still in the green, man. 5 of the last 8 times that she's played against the Lynx, she has hit under this mark. And if we look at her specifically this year, 4 of the 5 games that they have played, she has come under this line. Now, if we look at this insight from Outlier, we can see that she has failed to exceed this mark in 7 of her last 8 games at home. So a whole lot of green down here at 88% hit rate to the under when we look at her strictly at home in her last 8 games. So that's Sabrina Ionescu, rebounds and assists, under 10.5. Like I said, we can get this right now for the best price of -135 at Bet365. Guys, that's going to wrap it up here for Game 2 of the WNBA Finals. Hope you guys enjoyed the content. I hope you found it helpful and useful. And if you did, please do not forget to smash that like button down below for me. And please hit subscribe if you have not already. That way you do not miss out on any of the content that we are dropping here daily at the Guy Boston Sports Channel. And that's going to do it, guys. Best of luck. Hope we all have a great Sunday afternoon. Get to enjoy this lovely Game 2, see some more great basketball, and hopefully we make a bag in the process. So I will see you guys on the next video. Have a good one.